going to explain how to commit some war crimes in Space Station 14. You can always find lighters in a cigarette machine. A flippo lighter is certainly the most effective of these, but any of these would work. You could also use a welding torch, but welding torches actually aren't as good for setting people on fire as lighters. Something like a flippo lighter, you can literally leave on for I don't even know how long exactly. You can leave it on for probably 10-15 minutes before the fuel actually runs out, and you can just leave it in your pocket lit, good to go, with no issue at all. Did you know if you find something like a bottle of beer or any form of alcohol, you can open it up, and if you attack somebody with harm mode on, you'll splash some of it onto them, and every 5 units of flammable material put onto somebody will give them a quarter of a fire stack. Even though they're not on fire, it uses the same system, and you can amplify the deadliness of this significantly by increasing the transfer amount to 20. You can set it to 1,000, doesn't make a difference. You can only splash 20 units at a time. So if I splash 20 units at a time on somebody, it'll give them a full fire stack. And all you have to do to set them on fire at this point is pull out your flippo lighter or whatever lighter and left click them without harm on, and they will ignite. At this point, you can keep hitting them with the flammable material to keep the fire stacks going until you run out of your bottle or whatever container you're splashing them with. This can get out of hand really quickly and get very, very deadly. Having access to fuel tanks is really easy. You can always just find them in maintenance. So things like beer bottles actually have a 50 unit capacity. If you ever find something like a modular glass, it can only go up to 30 units. But the best thing you can get is actually a large beaker to splash people with. Shakers don't let you splash people for whatever reason, but large beakers let you splash somebody, and they have 100 units. It isn't super hard to find large beakers necessarily. You can just make them if you have access to a lathe, so many departments can do this, but just finding a beaker isn't that big of a deal, or just having multiple bottles of beer or whatever would solve this entirely. So with 100 units of fuel, you can literally walk up to somebody with the lighter out, and the fuel, you can splash 20 units on them like so, light them on fire, and just keep meleeing them to keep dousing them. It does not take very long until they are fully engulfed in flames, and even if they were to stop, drop, and roll at this point, they would still fall into a critical state. And what's even more deadly is fire extinguishers actually don't work on dead people. So you have to pour water on them to stop the fire stacks, and yeah, every tick of damage they take just from one beaker of welding fuel will basically make them incredibly hard to revive. Just one beaker of fuel is not enough to turn somebody to ash, but again, this is a singular beaker, and this can crit you in just a mere matter of seconds, and it's better damage and DPS than pretty much any melee weapon in the game doing this, and anyone can easily get access to these tools. Now, there are definitely ways to just make this a lot deadlier, and I mean, while I'm here, I'll just show another strategy. You can actually preemptively splash somebody with a bunch of it and then set them on fire, and they might not even know what's coming. So now I already got 5 full stacks on them, and they just fully engulf into flames if you do it this way. This technically will kill them faster. That was like, what, 3 or 4 seconds? But also, by the way, fire extinguishers do put out crit people for some reason, just not dead people. But no matter what, you can always just use a water bottle, and splashing somebody with water will actually give them negative fire stacks. So if you're just aware of this, and you always have everyone has a water bottle on them by default. If you have your water bottle ready to go, you can counteract 5 stacks of fire, or like 6 or whatever, every time you splash yourself. So it basically becomes a game of cat and mouse of igniter with a lighter versus somebody with water. But again, I will show more methods of how to utilize this to great effect. If somebody slips in it, it can get the fuel tank on their skin or clothes, so you could get some fire stacks, but if you were to ever catch on fire and slip in it again, it could keep the fire going, but it's really not all that reliable. It doesn't always seem to apply it. Breaking a fuel tank on someone can give a lot of fire stacks preemptively, but if they're already not, if they don't get splashed immediately, slipping them and setting on fire isn't all that effective, and I'm just covering that because I saw somebody in my Discord mentioning this, and it can be effective, but it's definitely not as effective as some of the other methods I'm also going to show. One possible strategy you can do is max out your fire stacks, which max fire stacks is 20. And the way fire stack spreading works is when you touch another flammable person or object, you split half of your fire stacks automatically to the target. So if I ignite myself and touch this person, so my fire stacks are on the left, theirs are on the right, I will instantly give them 10 fire stacks and cut mine in half. And if you're really fast, you could splash yourself with water to save yourself while your target just completely burns to death. Of course, wearing something like a fire suit or an Atmos hard suit would be better for this. I'm still going to crit because of heat because I was not fast enough. That's how fast you have to do that. So I would highly recommend if you're going to do a self-immolation tactic to kill your target, you're definitely better off going for a fire suit and walking into them. But again, fire suits make you slow. But I really don't think people would just expect you to combust out of nowhere and ignite them with a literal hellfire. Like, this person will turn to ash if no one splashes water on them almost immediately. Also, people who are dead don't spread fire stacks, so the only way to douse this person at this point is literally to hit them with a water bottle. I think you could throw water at them too, but like, again, a fire extinguisher just doesn't work on dead people for whatever reason. But yeah, how much damage are they at? They're at a casual 1300 heat damage with all I did was hit them with welding fuel, or I hit myself with welding fuel specifically and zip wood myself. They actually did not. Oh, they turned to ash. So if no one's around and you do that to a target, yeah, they're perma-dead. And if you really, really wanted them dead, you could keep splashing them with more fuel while they are burning. This is still not even the extent of how absolutely insane this can get. This tactic is definitely not as strong or deadly as the others, but it's a really cool use of the pneumatic cannon. I think this looks awesome in general. You can actually put paper in a pneumatic cannon, and you can light the paper on fire in the pneumatic cannon. And if you do it about one row at a time, that lets you get enough time to shoot all the paper before they turn to ash, and I'll just demonstrate. So if I ignite all 4 papers in a row, swap to harm mode, I can shoot full auto flaming papers at people, and they basically like infinitely pierce. But again, the way fire stacks spread is that it's only giving like 1 fire stack per paper. So I mean, if you hit multiple targets, the burning is really not going to be amazing. Even with 4 papers, as you can see, the damage just isn't incredible. But for having a pneumatic cannon with just pieces of paper and a lighter, having a ranged mortar is a ranged flaming mortar, I think, is just really cool looking in general. I will show the next tactic, which, disclaimer, I will say this right now, this is absolutely broken and should be nerfed to the ground or fixed. I don't know how to do it, but this basically has no counterplay. Even in an Atmos fire suit, this will kill you in a few seconds with no risk to the user and basically no cost. This is overpowered as hell. I can't state it enough. Don't hate me. I'm just spreading it. I think this should be nerfed. So, one thing you can do is you can actually splash fuel on a dead mouse or something. Anything that you can pick up in your hand and throw a reasonable distance will work just fine for this. So you could pick up a mouse with 20 stacks of fire, ignite it in your hand, and throw the mouse, and it will hit. The first person to hit will transfer 10 flame stacks to them instantly. But now you don't have to burn yourself at all, and you can set your targets on fire from a far distance, or even up close. As long as they don't run into you, you won't take any fire damage. Of course, if they run into other people, they'll reduce their own fire stacks, but then again, if they're spreading fire and you're an antagonist or something, or if your crew setting a nukie on fire and they're setting their fellow nukies on fire in a panic, also a good thing. Of course, this can get even sillier. With a pneumatic cannon and 2 mice and a lighter, you can ignite both mice at the same time and shoot them and give somebody 20 fucking fire stacks with only 2 shots. Even if they have water ready and stop, drop, and roll, they're doomed. They are going to die pretty much. So 2 mice shot out of a pneumatic cannon on fire might be the literal strongest weapon in the entire game, and you can just put in more mice already covered in fuel if you want. It's really not hard to set this up. It's absolutely stupidly broken. I will not use this. I don't think anyone should use this, but damn, is it not a little funny seeing 2 flaming rats turn you into a pile of fucking ash. And finally, we have just straight up using pyrotechnic chemicals and splashing them on a target. So this is CLF3, which, in case you don't know that, it's an explosive that leaves behind chlorine trifluoride. So if you ever make this, this is probably really only available to chemists or cargo techs who buy chemicals or nukies, I guess. All you do is if you splash 20 units on somebody, they will get, I think it's like 6 stacks of flame from 20 units of CLF3. You could use Flog. Flog's a little worse, but if you ever get in melee distance with this and hit somebody with it, they're just doomed, because that was only 20 units of the 100 units of a beaker. So you can hit them 3 times and basically max out their fire stacks. Of course, though, doing this in melee range, it heavily risks your own ignition, but if you are planning on lighting somebody on fire before you actually do it, you could literally splash yourself with like 15 units of water and then do it. Here, like, watch. I will ignite them on fire, and if I run into them, I have a minor ignition, because, I mean, I do take half the stacks, and it's just, like, I'm not dying as much as them, as you can see. So, and of course, if you just know you're going to be setting something on fire, just have water ready just in case. Probably even have ointment or any form of burn medicine ready, just in case. But yeah, that is really all I got. Improvised flame weapons are incredibly powerful. Thank you for watching.